Hi everyone. Well, Mark's already given the intro, so thanks, very kind. You've already seen the title for my talk. A little bit about me. I'm going to skip the SEO stuff. This is me at Holly, somewhere in Rajasthan. I love travel. I just found the biggest Kingfisher bottle I could. When I'm not traveling, I'm usually behind the drum kit, annoying my neighbours. And basically my musical style is like Dave Grohl mixed with Phil Collins' haircut. Okay, so yeah, why did I want to try and automate my SEO processes and data analysis? Well, primarily I just wanted to save time by eliminating some of the setup time involved with dealing with spreadsheets. And I thought if I could save time by eliminating the admin, I could set up repeatable templates and just get more consistent analysis, and it'd be more useful. And more importantly, that would just allow me to spend more time on the important tasks instead of just boring admin. So I've tried to learn Python with platforms like Code Academy before, but the problem is that you have to just do everything yourself. You have to actually learn. It's quite difficult. But one of the main problems I found was a lot of the courses just aren't like SEO specific. So I found it quite difficult to apply what I'd learned to the day job. And I also found that a lot of the courses are quite repetitive, so you'll just do something really basic over and over and over, suddenly it just ramps up in difficulty. So I found it really difficult to just persist with that, to be honest. It didn't fit with my day job directly. It felt like I'd have to do a lot of work just to get to a point where I could get anything out of it. So really I just got a lesson in frustration, to be honest. I just wanted to skip to the end where I knew how to use Python to achieve my goals. And really, I just wanted someone to do it for me. That'd be a lot easier. So the clue's in the title of my talk because that person turned out to be ChatGPT. So today I'm going to show you how you can get started if you're a complete beginner like I was, probably still am actually. I'll give you 3 examples of how I automated some SEO tasks. And finally, I'm going to share some tips on how to get the most out of ChatGPT Code Interpreter. So what do you need to get started? Well, obviously you'll need ChatGPT, and more specifically you need to have the Plus subscription. I think it's $20 a month. I recommend using a Python notebook, and the easiest way to get started is Google Colab. It's really easy to get set up. Or Jupyter Notebooks, that's more difficult to get set up. And also some ideas on the things that you want to automate, and hopefully I'll give you a couple of starter ideas. So once you've got your subscription on ChatGPT, you need to turn on Code Interpreter. That's under beta features, as you can see on the screen, hopefully. Get Google Colab. If you're already on Google Workspace, it's free, so great. And this is where you're going to run your scripts. If you've used ChatGPT before, you'll probably know you can run the scripts directly in ChatGPT. The reason why I use Colab is because I can then share the scripts with my colleagues. I can make repeatable templates, and also I can just cancel my ChatGPT subscription if I want to. But also it helps you keep control of your data, because some companies obviously don't want you putting your data into like a third-party platform. So yeah, this helps you keep control of your data. So moving on to my first example, this is a really simple one. This is the first script I ever did with this, so this is for complete beginners. The goal of this one is just to join 2 CSVs together. And of course you could use a VLOOKUP to do this, but it's a little bit fiddly, and I thought maybe there's a way to do this quicker with a Python script. So yeah, first step, you have to write your prompt. So very simply, you just describe what it should do. I recommend telling it where you're going to run it, because it makes things a bit easier. I'll explain a bit more about that later. And also what user inputs to take. So here I've said it has to take 2 CSVs. I've told it I want like a left join, and then I want the CSV downloaded. So ChatGPT will give you the output. It'll run you through what the script does, and then it'll give you the code. And all you have to do is click on copy code, paste it into Colab, hit the run button. It will do its thing. And then here's what it does. It's a little bit small, sorry about that. But it takes the 2 CSVs on the left. It combines them. So this is CSV with URLs, with rows of data, and it will append the extra row, extra column to the end, and then you get your output. So that's saved a bit of time, and it's something I can use again and again. Example 2, this is also quite a simple one. So for this one, the goal is simply to extract the folder from the URL. So of course, this is quite simple with a spreadsheet because you can use the text to columns feature. But again, I thought this might be something that's quicker done with a script. So here's the prompt I wrote. I specified the text I want to extract. So in this example, I said pull out the text between the 4th and the 5th slash. That's where the text is, the category folder that I want to pull out. And then here's the output. So again, it just runs it through. What it does, you can click copy code, paste it into Colab, and then this is what you get. So on the left, you've got the original CSV, and then it's pulled out the category, which is between the 4th and the 5th slash, and it's created a new column for that at the end. So those were 2 very simple scripts. I'm going to give you something a bit more complex with example 3, and they are in order. This is the 3rd album. Don't know if there's any fans in the building. So this one's a lot more complex, so let's see what we can do, try and make it a bit more difficult. So this time the goal is to identify pages that rank in the wrong country on a multinational website. So to drill into the scenario a bit more, my emojis have been taken off. I had really nice emojis. Anyway, so this is a multinational website. It's got a folder for each country. I've got anecdotal evidence that maybe my Canadian pages or my Australian pages could be ranking in the UK, and I want to find out if this is actually happening, and also I want to know why. So specifically, is that because my website doesn't have pages for the UK on those topics? So the first step is to think about what data you need. So obviously I know Search Console can give me clicks and impressions and average position, so that's going to be quite useful. I'll need to know the full URL because I want to identify pages that are ranking in countries. I don't just want to look at keywords. And I also need to know what the hreflang tags are on those pages, or even if they exist on those pages. And for anyone who doesn't know, hreflang tags is the tags that we use to tell Google what language or country specific pages are targeted towards, so it helps Google serve the right page for the right user based on where they are and the language they speak. So I decided to pull the data from Botify. Of course, you can use other tools. One of the benefits I found with Botify is you can combine multiple Search Console folders into one, and it will dedupe them. And that's really important for big websites because you get a lot of data sampling when you're dealing with like low traffic pages. This is a good way to get around that. So with Botify, if you're using it, you just have to add a column for your URL, and then you can export that as a CSV. I also need to have the hreflang data, so I used the site crawler, and then I had one column for URLs, and the other column was hreflang tags. And specifically, I used the JSON format because what that does is you have one row per URL, and then you have all of the hreflang tags in that one cell associated with each page, so it makes it really easy to extract. So with the data out of the way, you then need to work out what the steps are to process it. Probably the worst pun I've got on the deck, so apologies. So to start with, we already know how to do combine CSVs together. So that was example 1. We need to join those 2 CSVs together to get it all into one in one sheet. Next, we need to filter out the URLs appearing in the correct country. And if you remember, that's because we don't really care about the UK URLs. We want to look at URLs from other countries that shouldn't be ranking in the UK, or because there are no UK versions. So we only care about the wrong country pages. And we also want to identify pages ranking in the wrong country that do not have hreflang tags for the chosen region. Because again, we're looking for groups of pages that exist in other languages but don't have an equivalent for the UK. Because I want to basically get a list of these pages I can give to my writers and say, hey, go and write like a UK version of this to make it a bit more suitable for a UK audience. And of course, we then need to consolidate the data by URL and not by keyword, because I'm interested in individual pages and how they perform. And then finally, we want to download the CSV because I want to be able to analyze the data and then send that list to my writers who can then hopefully write some great content. So one thing I like to do is try and break this down into blocks, and if you've used Colab before, you'll know it uses these code blocks. So you can break down your code into sections. You can hit run one by one through them. It will tell you when each code is done, and then it also makes it easier to work out if anything's broken and where it's broken. So I also broke the prompts down into segments as well. So the first prompt, I wanted to join the CSVs, and as I said, we already know how to do that from example 1. So here's that prompt again, and I've just refined it a bit more to be specific to this one. So I want to do a left join from the first CSV to join the second CSV onto it, and then I save that as a data frame. And this is the script it's generated. That's in Google Colab. The next segment, I want to filter out the correct URLs, because again, we want to just look at the examples, the URLs from other pages that aren't UK. And also we want this tool to be reusable. So we want to be able to have the user select the country they're auditing and then filter the table based on the user's input. And we can tell ChatGPT that's what we want. So I've basically told it, accept the user input to choose the region that you want to audit. And then I've told it exactly how to filter the table based on that full URL column, depending on is there like a UK folder on the URL or an Australian folder or Canadian folder and so forth. And once again, copy the output into Colab. And then finally, block 3, there's 2 things we want to do here. So first of all, I want to consolidate all the keyword data by URL because that's what I'm interested in. So that's the first thing we want to do. The other part is we want to ignore any mention of GB in hreflang. We just want to erase all trace of GB. Brexiteers hate this slide, especially when there's a union flag on it. So here's the prompt I used to achieve that. So I told it to take that data frame that we had from the previous block, and then it refers to the selected site value, which is the bit where I said I've got a user input choosing a country. And then I told it how I want to have the output rearranged into the URL structure and not by keyword structure. And then I've also told it what headings I want each heading to be called. So once again, I've copied that into Colab. And then finally, I put it all together. So I've got the 3 code cells. They're hidden here, but they just run in order. And what you do is you just press run, wait for the green tick, hopefully it works. Keep going through it until it's done, and it spits out CSV. And here's one I've made earlier. So it is very small, I apologize for that. But what it's saying is I've now got all the data rearranged, so I've got a list of my URLs. There's no UK pages in there. None of them are paired with UK pages with hreflang. It's telling me the total impressions that they're getting in the UK because I've filtered it so it's only UK data from Search Console. I've got the total clicks they're getting in the UK. I can then just sort this by size. I can have a look at the pages and make sure, could my writers create something more useful for the UK based on this, and then I can send that over to them and have them write some content. So hopefully that gives you a good idea of what can be achieved with ChatGPT in Python. So I'm going to share some tips on what I've learned if you want to try this for yourself. So first of all, tell it where you'll be running the code. So it helps to ensure that the features work as expected. So the main example I came across was if I say I want the code to run in Colab, it will use the file uploader and downloader, and it just makes it be easier because you don't have to find the folder where you need to upload your data to and download it again. You can just have it download into your downloads folder, nice and easy. Become familiar with Python taxonomy. I found it's helpful to become familiar with this because it just helps you explain exactly what you want. And obviously to start with, that's going to be difficult because you haven't got much experience. But it will help you get the results you want with fewer revisions over time. And the good thing is you can just ask ChatGPT these questions. No need to invest in a separate Python course for this. If you're not sure what to do, but you have an idea, you can just ask ChatGPT how to do it. An example here, I've asked it, how can I check a list of URLs with hreflang tags and check if they're correct? And it's giving me some ideas, and it gives me some code, so I can try the code out. I could then refine my question and hopefully get something better by just learning a bit more about it. You will come into troubleshooting issues. I've not covered it in the demo because I wanted to keep it simple, but I'm just going to go through some of the things you might come across. So if you get error messages, you can just copy and paste them into ChatGPT and ask it how to solve it. So yeah, even if ChatGPT has created it, you can just say it didn't work, it will try and fix it. It's very polite, and it's good to be polite back to it because obviously you still want the job after the robot apocalypse. So yeah. You can also just regenerate your prompt. So if you go to the top, you can see there's a little pencil icon. And let's say the output doesn't work, but you can't figure out how to fix it. You can just edit that. If your new version doesn't work, you can use the arrows to go back to what you already had and try again. You can also just paste code in from your, take it from Colab, or even if you find scripts online, you can paste it in and ask it, what does the code do? So that's really helpful if you're stuck. You can't really work out what's going on. You can just paste it in, and just by going through that, you can learn a bit more about Python and how it works. So it will give you a summary of the code, and it will break it down step by step, explaining what it does. So really good for building your understanding. And occasionally I found ChatGPT might also break other things if you ask for certain amends. So you might say, I want to fix this thing. It might actually change something completely different on the code. So it's a good idea to just compare the two and make sure the things that you expected to change have changed, but everything else is untouched. And obviously if it doesn't work like that, you can just go back through some of these other steps to refine it. And to finish off, just two general tips really. One, create versions of your files. With the notebook, you can also annotate them. So if you've got code blocks, you can annotate them with what you did to get it. You could put your prompt in there as well. It just keeps it quite neat. And also, by saving different versions, you can roll back to previous versions of your script. So one of my scripts, I spent a long time working on it. I then tried to improve it, and I realized I hadn't saved my original version of it. So I lost loads of work. And finally, don't share your API keys, because if let's say you want to use like a custom search engine from Google, and you put your API key in, and then you share it with lots of people, they're going to be running up a bill with your data, so don't do that. Yeah, and that's everything from me. So I hope that was a useful introduction to some of the things you can do to get started with Code Interpreter to automate your SEO tasks and data analysis. I think we're going to questions.